Ngā mihi nui kia koutou katoa, ko Paula Tesoriero tōku ingoa. My name is Paula Tesoriero and I'm the Disability Rights Commissioner. I have been very concerned that the needs of tangata whaikaha Māori and disabled people have not been met as we've been facing the COVID-19 Omicron outbreak. I was particularly concerned that not enough support is in place to help keep people safe. So I launched an inquiry. An inquiry is something that, as the Disability Rights Commissioner, I am given the power to do under the Human Rights Act of 1993. It was a way that I could quickly collect information and make recommendations to the government to help make sure that when the government makes plans and decisions about how to manage Omicron and any new types of COVID, that they are always talking with and thinking about how it will help disabled people keep well and safe. To start my inquiry, I asked disability organisations and networks and whānau, family and carer organisations to tell me about their experiences. This part was done quickly and only through organisations to make sure that I could make recommendations to government quickly. Today, I want to talk to you about what people told me. Soon, I will share a report about the inquiry, but there is a bit of a wait to get the report in all of the right accessible formats. So today, I want to give you a short outline of what organisations told me and tangata whaikaha Māori and disabled people's experiences and what I am going to recommend to the government to make things better. People told us about some good experiences, for example, about great support they had from Māori and Pacific organisations, or the support and information disabled people provided to each other. But mostly, people told us about things that had not worked well, and that created a lot of stress and difficulty. The main things people told us were there were a lot of problems with communications. It was hard to find information. It changed quickly. It was in lots of different places, not always in alternate formats, and there was a heavy reliance on digital information, and phone lines did not always have text alternatives. I heard about staying safe during the pandemic. People told us it was hard to get access to or afford the things that help keep people safe, like masks or finding accessible vaccination sites. We heard about the support to isolate safely. Messages said to prepare, but many disabled people and their families can't afford to stock up food or medication. Online deliveries do not work for everyone, and housing situations may not be suitable for isolating to arrange alternative support if your usual support workers are unwell. I heard about disruptions to disability support services. People were very worried about how they would get support if their usual workers got sick. It seemed there had not been good planning for this. The messages from the government said people needed to work it out for themselves, which meant people felt left on their own. And people told us they have had changes and disruptions to support. We heard about health services being unavailable. People had problems connecting with their usual health services, like their GP, and they worried whether they would have what they needed to keep safe if they had to be in hospital. We heard about the lack of support in education settings. People did not always get the right support from schools when they wanted to keep learning from home to stay safe when schools opened up again. I'm now going to talk about some of the main things I'm going to recommend to the government. Firstly, I'd like the government to take immediate action to work in partnership with disabled people in all their planning and putting in place all the other recommendations to improve the information about COVID and Omicron so it is easier to find and use. The government needs to make sure there are more and easier ways to get what people need, like masks, rapid antigen tests, a support worker if yours is sick, more help if you have to isolate at home if you are sick. I'd like consideration of a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week service that people can contact and find a way to get their support if their usual support person is not able to come to work. We want to see people having more flexible options, including how to get the right support for learning if they are staying away from school. As we move into preparing for our continued response to COVID-19, thinking ahead, the government must plan much better to make sure people will keep getting their support when workers might get sick with COVID or for future emergencies. We'd like to see more funding for Māori and Pacific organisations who people are finding very helpful in supporting them. In the medium term, we need to see designing systems and policies for disability inclusiveness. We need to make sure there is much better information collected about tangata whaikaha Māori and disabled people and experiences of COVID so that we can see all the time what is happening and if anything needs to be done differently. In the longer term, we need to transform society's assumptions about disability. This means making sure that disabled people are part of making decisions about COVID at all levels of government. We need to give much better support to whānau and families and other people who care about and support tangata whaikaha Māori and disabled people. That's a snapshot of our inquiry. It does not outline all of the recommendations, but we will be making the report available as soon as possible for people to access in full. Thank you.